Craig, you look like you belong on this side of the camera. You fit in perfect.
Yep. Beards is a recommendation, isn't it?
Or
a requirement.
Aaron doesn't like mine.
Yeah, we did it.
There we go.
Look at us.
All right.
How's it going? Man? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Sorry it took a minute to finally make this happen. My apologies, man.
Oh, no worries. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, right on. Before we get started and I just steamroll into the interview,
okay.
Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody out there and tell them who you are?
My name is Craig MacArthur. I go by CMac by a lot of the local music community here. I play in a band called the Casual Coalition. And that band is kind of a rotating cast of people. I worked at Terrapin Crossroads for about 7.5 years. And I did booking there for the last 4.5 years I was there. And just got to learn or meet a bunch of musicians that were in the community and beyond. And so the Casual Coalition kind of takes just basically all the musicians that I've met throughout the years, and we kind of just, whoever's available, we have like a song list that kind of everyone has. And people just kind of slip right into their parts. Basically,
yeah,
that's dope.
What a great venue to be able to pick from the musicians that come through.
Yeah, it was a blessing to work there, and it just I got to meet so many cool musicians over the years.
What prompted you to start? Did you start the Casual Coalition?
I did. It was actually it's funny. They used to give me the nickname Casual Craig. Just because I was, I don't know, I guess kind of laid back or whatever. And there was the main front of house guy for Phil. His name was Alex Jarvie, or is Alex Jarvie. And he always called me Casual. So whenever I put a night together at Terrapin, we just call it the Casual Coalition.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of evolved from there.
So I'm Aaron, by the way, Craig.
Hi, Aaron.
How's it going?
And this is Mel.
Hi, Mel.
And then I'm Apple.
Apple, very nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Terrapin is a really, really special place in what it does. It's this nexus hub of creativity and expression and music and fun and food and everything. I remember for us, back in 2014? Yeah, I think it was 2014. We made a pilgrimage. We're going.
Nice.
We went and saw Phil in the great room and with Anders Osborne.
With Anders.
And
we saw Graham. Graham was in the bar that night. So we saw Graham playing, got the whole experience and the food. It just blew us. The food was fantastic. The drinks, you catch Graham in the bar while you're waiting for the other show. Then go Phil. I mean, that place is amazing.
2014, that was like the golden era. It was just like hopping.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much going on, like always, just like 7 days a week, multiple shows a day. And at 2014 is a good chance I was probably doing sound in the bar around that time. So
it's a small world, dude. We went a couple of years ago. We podcasted from the stage there in the bar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember feeling.
We were interviewing the Higgs.
Yeah, we interviewed the Higgs.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah. Were you there?
I booked that show.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and they killed the dining room. It was like, holy shit.
But I remember on top of being nervous, that was one of the first live podcasts we ever did. But just the mystique around Terrapin and being on that stage and, the life that I've lived and then ending up there, it was this huge, full circle moment of weirdness. And it was really heavy, man. So I can only imagine for you, what got you started working at Terrapin?
It's just totally by luck. So I played in a band before Casual Coalition. We were originally called Acacia, and then we turned into a band called Go by Ocean. And we recorded an album with Tim Bloom from the Mother Hips. He produced the album at his studio in San Francisco. And I was working at, funny enough, I was working at an adult shop over in San Rafael, which is right where Terrapin Crossroads is. There's like an adult boutique. And Tim, I could actually see out the window, the big sailboat outside. And I was always just like daydreaming, like, you know, because it was right when it opened. And I was just like, oh man, you know, one day I'm going to go there and, you know, see Phil and blah, blah, blah. And then I got a phone call from Tim Bloom because I did some roadie work with the Mother Hips. And he called me up and he was like super nervous because his first time playing with Phil. And he asked me to be his guitar tech for the show. And that was one of the first like great room shows they did, where they did like Working Man's Dead in its entirety. And that was with like Chris Robinson and like Mark Karan and Graham. And so I went there and guitar teched for him. And I met like Ross James and all the crew, and Brian Lesh at the time. You know, he did a lot of behind the scenes work there. And I just became like fast friends with those guys. And that show kind of came and went. And then I'd start to see like Ross and all those guys around town, you know, because I kind of lived close to them. And we just kind of became friends outside of that. And then further decided to do a run of shows in the Great Room, the only time they ever played at Terrapin. And I got a call from Robbie Taylor, which was Phil's bass tech at the time. And he asked me, because their normal guy couldn't make it. So he asked me if I wanted to come down and guitar tech, drum tech, and keyboard tech for Further.
Oh man.
Holy crap.
Dang.
And I was like, I didn't know, you know, I've never drum teched in my entire life, but you can't say no to that. So
Well, okay, what does that entail?
just, you know, making sure the drums are all set up in tune. Keyboards, make sure everything's working. Guitars, make sure everything you know, is in tune. New strings on the guitar. And then, you know, as the show is going on, basic like needs, you know, most of the time they just need like a beer or water during the show. But like one of the crazy stories, the last show they did there for that run, everything was going fine. We were like, you know, on autopilot, and it was like close to the end of the show. And I look over and Joe Russo is like signaling me, hey, something's wrong. And I go up there and he's like, he kicked through the kick drum with his beater. And I mean, it was like one of the very last songs they played. It was like Morning Dew. So luckily it was like a very mellow song. And so I had to go and replace his entire drum head on his kick drum on his side, like while he's playing.
Oh my
shit.
God.
And he wound up standing up and like playing kick drum on the tom. And luckily it was like Morning Dew, so it was the only song because it's so like mellow. And I remember like my wrist hurting, you know, because I was so nervous because you have to like undo every single like lug. And finally we got it changed, and the show went on, and it was a tragedy narrowly averted.
Right on.
Dude, I can only imagine, first of all, the phone call coming and you being like, yeah, no problem, and then hanging up the phone and being like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I was like, what?
But they, you know,
But somehow you knew. You said you knew that you were gonna be involved in that when you.
It was weird. It was
Yeah.
such a weird thing. Yeah. It was I don't know. It was just this weird stroke of luck and fate, I guess. I don't know.
Do you feel like that about like your career, as far as like kind of being led or kind of luck, or you know, maybe places that you just right place, right time kind of thing?
Yeah, it's weird. I grew up in Southern California, and I moved to the Bay in like 2005. And I don't know, it's this weird thing where like we just kind of kept meeting people, particularly associated with the Grateful Dead. Like when I first moved up here, we met Martin Fierro, the guy who played sax with Jerry a bunch, and like Legion of Mary. And we wound up playing a bunch of shows with him, and met like Bobby Vega and just people within that community, and just total randomness. And I don't know, it's just this weird thing where if you're around it enough, it kind of just you just fall into it almost.
we know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know what you mean. It's we've actually talked about it like on the show that like the Grateful Dead community and that family is like really unique in that it gives an opportunity to people that are passionate for what they do. And it's like, in a lot of ways, at least to me, it's self-regulating. Like it pulls the right people in, and then the people that aren't supposed to be there get kind of pushed out to the side. And it's, I mean, it's given us this and so many people that I know a career. You know what I mean?
know.
It's nuts how that, like, some dudes hanging out in the hate made this huge thing that happened.
It's incredible. It's just like a whole, there's nothing really like the Grateful Dead, you know. It's just like, how many other bands in the world have basically a Grateful Dead like tribute band in their city, like in every city in the world, you know? It's crazy. It's there's no other, not even the Beatles, you know.
No, you're right. What are your origins with the Dead? Like, aside from, you know, when you moved like in Southern California, like what was your first show, first, you know, hearing it, your parents, like?
I never actually saw the Grateful Dead. I definitely liked them when they were still around. It was like I graduated high school in 1995. You know, they played Irvine Meadows a bunch, which is right where I grew up. But for some reason I just never went. I think I got into them like my junior year of high school. Someone slipped me the Reckoning album.
Oh yeah.
And that, I don't know, I didn't even really know, like, I mean, I'd heard Truckin' and stuff like that, but and the Sugar Magnolia, but I just didn't really know too much about them. And then I started playing guitar around, you know, my junior, sophomore year of high school, and you know, it was acoustic guitar, so the Reckoning album really kind of struck a chord with me. And from then it was like, you know, I think 100 Year Hall was the next year album I really got into. And, you know, we would do psychedelic experiments in like Joshua Tree, and the Dead would always be like, we'd bring like a ghetto blaster and just blast the Dead all night long, you know.
Dude, we used to do the same thing in Valley of Fire outside of Vegas. It's funny.
Yeah.
Desert in a boombox and some good acid, and
yeah,
good time.
You know,
you guys are based out of Oregon?
Yeah, we're in Portland now. The three of us all live together. We moved from Vegas up here 4 years.
Coming up in June is 5.
Oh shit,
yeah, June 2016.
Yeah,
wow.
Time to escape the desert, man.
Yeah, we were.
I love Oregon. It's great.
We're so glad that we made the move up here, especially with the events that have happened in the last year. You know, it's just, man, Vegas is not a great place
we wanted to be. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. So the stuff that you're doing now, like Casual Coalition, isn't a set band. You've got you know, like you said, a cast of characters that comes through and plays it.
Yeah.
More difficult.
There's a set bass player. His name's Brian Rashap. He plays bass actually for the Mother Hips.
Okay.
And he was Phil's current bass tech, even though Phil's not playing right now. But you know, as of the last show Phil played, Brian was Phil's bass tech.
Okay. But does that make it difficult for you, man? Like, I would think it would add a level of difficulty that's not there if you're playing with an established group of guys that you're with all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have an established group, and it's getting more and more established each time we go about it. We got a third guy. His name's David Simon Baker, and he actually he produces a lot of music out here. He's actually producing the new Midnight North album, and he's kind of the third member of the band. He's produced everything I've worked on for the last like 8 years or so. And then, you know, as far as drummers in such demand, you know, it's just there's usually about like 4 or 5 different drummers I use, but you know, they're all really good guys and they're pros and they can kind of just slip right in.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
And then this is because I've been watching a lot. I love YouTube, going back and watching. I watched like you guys with Stu Allen doing Exile on Main Street.
Yeah,
several different videos, and so I mean, you've been playing as Casual Coalition for years, but this is the first album that you've done, right? the new.
Yeah, we started out doing covers and stuff like that, and doing albums and stuff. We've done a bunch of albums. We've done like the Basement Tapes. We did On the Beach, Neil Young, and stuff like that. And then I just started writing a bunch of original songs, and those kind of just crept into the set list. And finally we got a full album's worth, and we started recording that in like 2016 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And took about 3 years to make. And and that was like, I mean, there's 12 or 13 different musicians, I think, on the album. So
No, and it seems like I mean, several of them have several of them. I mean, have they been written through COVID? I mean, obviously, Is It Time, the new single, is directly written, but it seems like several of the like Universal Sigh.
No, that was all written way before. That was like
Was
2017 maybe.
Wow.
And pretty much all, like, I think Universal Sigh was let's see, that was like 2017. All the songs were definitely like 2014 to 2017.
Okay, that's a trip, because they say, I mean, it seems like they could have been written during this, like a like response
totally.
to what's going on.
Absolutely. I think most of it, I mean, like songs like Universal Sigh was more of a dig at like Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all sighing. I was, at least.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
I know you can't say that anymore, right? We're all
Everybody's like,
you never know.
It's a really weird space that we're in, man. This time is so odd right now. Like, with live music being gone, I never thought that was a thing that could happen. You know what I mean?
know.
Like, what? And now it's like, I'm starting to see announcements of stuff. There's some festivals announced. There's actually shows happening back east.
Yep.
But it's this weird, like, in between liminal space that we're in, where there's kind of nothing happening. And how are you doing, man? Are you hanging in there?
Yeah. We actually recorded a brand new album back in of May of last year. And I don't know, it was the beginning of COVID was a very like fruitful writing period for me. And so we went to the Sonoma Redwoods, and a friend of ours has a cabin out there, and we turned the whole place into a big recording studio, and got a whole entire album done in a week.
Wow.
And that song Is It Time is like the first single from that new album coming out. And that song was definitely COVID related.
Yeah.
It's been a fruitful time. And then, we've been doing like the live streams on Deadhead Land a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I do every other Wednesday for him, for Brian Markovitz. And then, we played a show yesterday in someone's backyard. This girl named Whitney, she's been keeping the music alive basically down here in Marin County for the last year.
Is this what I've been seeing on Instagram? It looks like somebody's backyard, and
Yep.
It's like all the players that we all know.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, her name's Whitney, and she goes by Bay Area Deadhead, Bay Area Deadhead fan, I think.
Yep.
On like Instagram, and or Bay Area Deadhead, that's what it is. And she's throwing socially distanced, safe parties. Like everyone's wearing a mask, and it's like 25 people tops, and then everyone pays like $50 tip jar to get in. And so the musicians, we're getting paid better doing those shows than normal regular shows.
That's fucking cool, man.
I know, she's like the savior of Marin County right now.
Oh,
Good on her.
Yeah.
And so no longer you're not working at Terrapin anymore?
No, I work over at the Sweetwater Music Hall now.
Oh, okay, cool. What do you do over there?
Well, I don't do anything right now. We're furloughed. We've been furloughed since last March. Our job's there, but it's just waiting for it to get like jump started again. So when I left, I was doing all their social media, and basically that was it. I was just working part-time there. That's what I was doing for Terrapin too. But for Terrapin, I was doing social media, I was doing sound. I was wearing a lot more hats at Terrapin. I was doing all the booking there in the bar.
Wish there weren't as many problems, but it's a burden. Felony just been deferred, and hell of me has been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? One simple road. Shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.